Hello everyone, welcome back. This is Mr. Osama Sabi. So in this video we'll be looking at physics. It's grade 12 level. Alright, so before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe. So in today's video we'll be looking at what is known as quantities and units. So quantity and unit. So this is basically just the first topic you come across in grade 10 physics. Alright, let's get to it. So every time you're looking at what is known as a quantity, what you have to put in mind is that everything that you can think about right now is called a quantity. But since this is physics, we're trying to focus on the physical quantities that are out there in the world. So if you look at what is known as a physical quantity, we're looking at things that are measurable in life. So physical quantities are quantities defined to be measurable. So measurable quantities are physical quantities. Alright. Now, there are many physical quantities that we have in the world. You can look at things like time, length, temperature, and so on and so forth. There are quite a good number of physical quantities. Now, since there are so many physical quantities in the world, we have to divide this in a certain class. Now, these classes can be referred to as just the types of physical quantities that are out there. So, what are these classes? So, the first class or type we can look at is the base quantity. Now, a base quantity, in simplicity, we could say that this is a quantity made up of what? One SI unit. Quantity made up of one SI unit. Now, an SI unit is simply just something to which a quantity is measured by. So, if we had to look at examples of these basic quantities, we'd look at only 7 because we basically only have just like 7 quantities. So we have quantity, SI unit, and simply just what? The symbol. So if we look at the quantity, we can look at things such as length. Length is defined to be the measurement of something from one end to the other. The SI units are simply just meters, symbol M. We can look at other quantities of the basics such as time. The SI unit are what we call seconds, symbol is S. Can look at things like mass, the amount of a substance, the amount of matter, that is measured in an object, is that what we call mass. So mass is measured in what we call kilograms, but the symbol is just kg. Now going to what I was trying to explain, which is the amount of a substance. The amount of a substance is mostly highlighted in chemistry. The amount of a substance has the SI unit called moles, so the symbol is just mole. Then we also have light intensity. Light intensity, other books would say luminous intensity. So light intensity is measured in what we call candela. The symbol is just CD. Then the last one that we can look at is what we call current. Current as the units call ampere. The symbol is capital A. So basically these are the 7 basic quantities that you have to know. We have length, time, mass, the amount of substance, light intensity, and current. Oh, I forgot one. Temperature. Now temperature is how hot or cold a place is, so be mindful of it. It's measured in what we call kelvins. The symbol is K. Now, these are just basic quantities. Let's quickly move and look at what we call derived quantities. Now, derived quantities are quantities made out of a combination of 2 or more basic quantities. Now, when basic quantities are multiplied or divided, you get what we call derived quantities. So, in simplicity, we can say that derived quantities are simply just quantities that have more than one SI unit. Quantities with more than one SI unit. Alright, if we had to look at some examples that we have, we can look at things like velocity. Velocity is measured in what we call meters per second. Then the symbol is m/s. You can also look at what we call acceleration. Acceleration units are meters per second squared. And the symbol is m/s squared. We also have things like area, which is in meter squared or squared meters, which is m squared, and things like volume. Volume is cubic meters, which is m cubed. Now you need to understand that area and volume are quite different. Area is the amount of space occupied by an object in square meters, while volume is the amount of space occupied by an object in cubic meters. Other related derived quantities are things like force, moment, speed, the density of an object, the weight, and so on and so forth. There are quite a good number of these derived quantities. Now I want us to also look at the last two quantities that are called scalar and vector. So what we call scalar and vector quantities. Now a scalar quantity is very simple to understand. So if you look at the first one, which is a scalar quantity, now a scalar quantity is just a quantity that has size only. It only has size and there's no direction. A few examples you can look at are simply things like speed, mass, time, distance, and so on and so forth. These are just a few that we can actually highlight. Then we also have what we call vector quantities. Now vector quantities are just quantities that have both the size, which is called the magnitude. They have the size, which is called the magnitude, and basically they also have a direction. They have the size and the direction. A few examples we can look at are things like velocity, displacement. You can look at things like acceleration, and so on and so forth. Other things like force can be included amongst the vector quantities. Alright, so this just concludes the first aspect of quantities and units. We don't really have to waste much time on this one because it's quite simple to understand. Remember, where physical quantities are just defined to be measurable quantities of basic quantities, quantities made up of only one SI unit. We looked at several examples. We looked at time, length, we looked at temperature, current, the amount of a substance, luminous intensity, and so on and so forth. Then we also looked at derived quantities to be a combination of two or more basic quantities. They are created through division and multiplication of these basic quantities. The scalar and the vector, just be mindful the scalar will only have the size, to only have the magnitude, or a vector will have both the magnitude and the direction. Alright, thanks for watching. If you have questions, you can reach me on WhatsApp on the number attached to the screen or the one in my description. My name is Mr. Hussein. WhatsApp. Remember to like and subscribe. Strategize before you become a statistic, and also push for that distinction.